Just moved in my new house today. Moving was hard, but I got squared away. Bells started ringing and chains rattled loud. I knew I'd moved in a haunted house. Still I made up in my mind to stay. Nothing was gonna drive me away.
Hey people, you know the drill. It's Monday, starting for another vlog. This vlog, guarantee you, no skeletons, no barrels, no hodgepodge. It's all going to be spider. And we're going to see this week how close we can get to having this prop done. We've gotten a lot of work done on it so far. Still a ways to go. But we're going to be doing this one. As you can see, over the weekend, great stuff. Did pretty good with setting up. Now, originally, I was going to come in, maybe give it a second coat, and then come back to it with some sandpaper and do some, shaping and stuff on it. The wife and I got to taking a look at it today, and we decided we're not going to do any of that. We're going to leave it just as it is, with a couple of minor exceptions. I need to come in here with a saw blade. Right now, the great stuff here is attached to the great stuff here. I need to give it a cut here on the fangs, and another cut back here where the two bowls are, to create a seam, so I can actually get the bowls off of this damn thing. Especially that back one, because I've got to get the legs fixed. I've also got to come in here on the sides, on this side and that side, as well as on the back side, clean off a little bit of the great stuff so I can get to the mounting screw, so I can get the bowls off. The leg slats, I'm going to end up eventually having to clean those up too. I won't do that though, probably until after I get the legs fixed. And yes, I did go down to Home Depot today as one of my errands, and I picked up the parts to get the legs fixed so I won't have the reoccurring problem with the springs and what have you, and I'll cover that when I get to it. We also stopped by the fabric store and picked up some scrap cloth. We're going to be doing the legs in cloth. There's going to be some cloth highlights on the body and whatever. I'll cover that if and when we get to it this week. My first job out here though is to get my cuts done on the great stuff so I can get those bowls free, and get the prop kind of cleaned up, because I've got, this side isn't too bad, but we got great stuff on the legs and what have you, so I need to get that cleaned up. Okay, that was a lot of fun. Got the bowls off, and yes, for those just joining, these are actually just serving or mixing bowls. I bought down at Walmart, coated them with great stuff. I went and made a cut right between the head and the body to separate the two bowls, and then I made another one up front to separate the fangs. And I know I didn't cut back, back here where that line is. And that's because the great stuff is swollen out pretty far over there, and I didn't want to dig into the great stuff. Fangs, I'm going to come back with some sandpaper, and I am going to shape them, kind of round them off a little bit more and shape them up a little bit more. The great stuff, as it dried, actually went down passable past the plywood I have for the base, and it adhered to the plywood and kind of curved around underneath, so I had to cut these loose. And as a result, we got great stuff all over the floor. Not a problem. Now, as far as great stuff on these, I am not really overly finished yet. Now that I got the body pieces off, I can get into the mech. I'm going to start working on the mech next. And once I'm done with my mech, I'm going to see how far, the legs bounce up. That's why the slots are so big, because the legs sit here, and then when the mechanism pulls them, they pull up. And I might come through. I know I'm going to have probably about an inch gap in that hole where the legs won't hit. And I'll probably come back through, put some sort of backing back there, and spray some great stuff in there to take up the hole, space of the hole, so those holes aren't as noticeable. But now, if you saw last vlog, you know I had a problem with my springs, that screw tightening down. And when it tightened down, it locked the washer into place and ended up tying the springs all up into a coiled mess right on top of the washer. Also had the legs all up like that. So what I'm going to do, and I'm going to be able to fix the problem, I'm going to have to do some a little bit of redesign. I got to get the springs off on this one, take the washers off, and I got to looking at my eye bolts. I think I'm going to move my eye bolts a little bit further down the leg a little bit so they're more level with the washer, because right now they're sitting up above the washer and I want them more level with the washer, so I'm going to move those down the leg a little bit. Then I'm going to pop the washers off and probably bore out the center hole a little bit to do my fix. A lot of the problem I had with that was, like I was saying, the screw, and with the tension of the springs and stuff on the washer and whatever, and every time the thing went around, it was actually tightening the screw, and the screw actually tightened down to the point where it locked the washer into place so the washer wouldn't rotate. And I want the washer to rotate. So I got to thinking what I need to do is I need a sleeve I can put over that screw that is small enough for the washer to fit down over the top of, and then I can crank that screw all the way down and the washer will ride on the sleeve, so the screw won't even be touching the washer on there. And I also mentioned I'm getting rid of the springs and I'm going cable. It's a 50-pound test cable. Those legs don't weigh 50 pounds, but it's nice and small, should do the job just fine. And I was thinking, well, I need a fastener for it, so I found these. And they're used like shown in the picture there, but you use that to crank the wire together. And I got to look, and it has these stops on it. I was thinking if I bore the hole out in that just a hair bigger, or just a hair bigger than the screw, I could use those for my spacers on the washers. So the washers actually have a pivot point of their own. So I'm going to start doing that. I got to get spacers bored out, I gotta get the washers removed from the motor, I gotta get the old springs off, we're gonna lower this down and then recable it, and that should take care of my problem with the legs. The only problem is, like now when that thing stops, the legs bounce. Once I take those springs off, the legs ain't gonna bounce no more. They're just gonna simply go up and down, and with the length of the legs they'll probably bounce a little bit anyway with the plastic flexing. But okay, quick little segment here, and I know radios are blasting in the back, you're going to have to put up with it. To spend some time, I had to bore the hole out larger in the center of the washer. My spacer, I had to bore the hole out, and I got a little washer on top of it so this thing just doesn't slide off the top. But it spins nicely now, and it's can't come off unless I take the screws out, and I got the screws tightened just to the point where it's ready to strip if I go any further. So I can't go any possibly tighter on those screws. So the problem I had with the springs should not happen again. Did want to mention I took a look at Dead Things, aka Pat's vlog. He had 2 vlogs on his channel on the Spider. His shiatsu massager has one spindle that sticks up and it just does this rocking motion back and forth. So he was able, and it didn't turn or anything, so he was able just to attach his washer to the top of the spindle. Didn't have the problem. Mine, on the other hand, is hooked to a base, and the whole base rotates, spindle and all. So I need some sort of swivel point for that washer. And I think I've got that problem taken care of now. We shall see. Okay, got the legs semi-fixed. Ran into another problem. Isn't it great when you're working on something new, you gotta do all the bug fixes, and I'm doing bug fixes on the Spider. So went and got new lines entered in. Everything was nice and tight, so I've got some slack in this line, slack in this line. Problem I'm having now is, before when I had the springs on there, the wheels were turning nice and easy going around. Now that I don't have any give in the wires, it's going around, coming back here, stopping for a second, and then doing another round. And I'm thinking I'm putting some stress on it, and it's taking a while for it to catch up. So it may end up eventually stripping out. I don't know. Also tried loosening this up and repositioning it, and took the straps off. Now it's all kind of kitty-wampus, and that's causing some binding problems. So it's dinner time. I'm getting ready to call it quits for the night. I'll come out here tomorrow and mess with it. We should have the legs in some fashion going. Okay, there we go. Next day, had some problems, had to take the whole thing apart. First off, when I originally attached the wires, I didn't leave much slop in them. In fact, I had the legs pulled back a little bit, and it was actually starting to bind up the motor. So I came out this morning, cut all the wires loose, redid the wires. It was also pulling the motor all over the place too, out of kittywampus. So I had to take that loose, reattach it. And then one thing to help take care of the binding is the eyelets. I originally moved them down about an inch. I raised them back up. And that seemed to help quite a bit with this. So we got the legs working. Now I need to get the wire ram for it, what have you. And that's the next step on the project. And by the way, good morning. Okay, I'm back. And it looks like I got a problem. I just turned it on to show you something, and okay, washer, the screw just came loose off the washer. This is getting frustrating. Another problem I'm having too is in the middle of the other shoe. I just turned the camera off, and these little brackets I got that clamp down on the wiring keep wanting to pull loose. Other than that, everything's working fine. I think I'm going to end up running these until a bunch of these pop loose again. And then I think I'm going to follow Pat's method from Dead Things. He used fishing line, which is really good because you can just knot it, you know, so it doesn't want to pull loose. It might end up actually working better than using this wire. I wanted something a little bit more heavier duty. Okay, got my problem fixed. Had to track down the spacer. It went flying. But I got it back working. I put a longer screw on it. I probably ought to do the same thing with that one there, and I think I probably will here as soon as I put the camera down. Now what I was saying here, these little spacers, you slide the wire through and you clamp them down with some vice grips, and it pinches the wire so the wire doesn't want to come loose. Pat, Dead Things, on his just used fishing line. He ran it through the hole, knotted it here, ran it over the leg, knotted it there, and he didn't have any problems. I may end up doing that with this. You know, any more of these fail. These little brackets, you get a set of, these little clamp brackets, so you get a set of 2 of them for like $1.89. You know, so, you know, they cost money. A spool of fishing line, I could have spent the same amount of money on that and had fishing line for ages. And I could get 50, and the wire's 50-pound test, so I could use fishing line on it and just do that. Don't know, I'm just going to let it run for a while, or, you know, if one of the wires fails again, I'll just start replacing them with fishing line, I think. Okay. Had another one of the wires fail, so I said the hell with it. Went down to the sporting goods store and picked up some fishing line. It's a cloth fishing line though, 80-pound test on, so I'll hold up to 80 pounds. Legs probably weigh about 10 pounds a pop, if that. So I got that wired on there. Things running nice and smoothly. About the only problem I'm going to have with it, possibly, is maybe the knots coming undone, or if the line's rubbing up against the housing on the for the body on there, it might come loose. In which case, I put a new piece, tie it on, and it's done. Real quick, easy, and cheap. The spool I bought is 400 yards, so more than enough to get through the Halloween season and quick fixes. So I'm calling this right now done on the legs. I'm going to go get some lunch, and after lunch we're going to get started on the bodies and also detailing the legs. Well, good evening. 9 o'clock, same day as the last couple of segments. Made some major progress out here. First off, on that, I decided to call it quits. It's good enough. If it fails, I can just come in, tie new fishing line on there. Take all of a couple of seconds, so I'm not worried about that. But you'll notice the legs are a different color, both on the stubs there and on these. I started doing some detail work, and what this is some felt that was been adhered with some spray glue. Nice mess. It took a while, but all the legs have been wrapped and everything with that. That's the first part of the detail. I still got to come back and do some trim work on the finial, the light here, finial feet, and on the elbow joints and what have you. So that will be tomorrow. I'll get started on that. I also got in here, and you really can't tell. Oh, there's one there. I drilled some holes into the head for putting LEDs in, as well as getting that painted and that painted. So with that, pretty good progress. Hopefully tomorrow we should have the crafting part on the spider finished. We'll have all the pieces done and what have you. Then the only thing I'll have left to do is get the airlines hooked up to the cylinder, as well as getting everything ran and stuff, if we're doing the air. And as you can see, that's the full extent that it goes out. It goes out quite a ways. Curious to see, and my friend who made the mech is also curious to see how this thing's going to react once she's hooked up to air. I'm curious to see how it's going to react with the legs on it. Cylinder should have no problem pushing it. I just don't want it tearing it apart. Also, I got here today, you'll notice the black wire and the speaker wire. Black wire goes to the motor. I got those fed down and fixed to where they're supposed to go. This one here is going to be hooked up to 12 volt, which will run the eyes on the head. So got that all done. Like I said, it's just basically detail work. I got some fur treatment. In fact, you can see a little bit of it in the bag. Over here, I got some fur material, which we're going to be cutting out, going over the joints. I'll be doing some detail work and stuff on the body with it, and what have you. And that, you'll get to see tomorrow. Maybe, if you're good. Okay, guys, my apologies. It's going on about 8 o'clock on Wednesday. And I know I should be on Tech Talk. I was for a little bit, but came back out here because I wanted to finish what I was working on the spider. And I've got it done. Not sure if it's showing up real good, but you can see the eyes on there. I spent damn near all day putting fuzzy material on the joints and on the spider, which you really can't see. It's too late at night. Getting a little too dark out here. I don't feel like getting a flashlight out. I still need to put some on the mandibles around the outside edge here, which I'm going to do tomorrow, which won't take long. The last major step for this prop, and this prop will be finished 100%, is getting the pneumatic cylinder hooked up, which means I need to get the elbows on the cylinder, run the lines, install the solenoid, hook up the air hose, install a Scooby-Boo board, the speakers, and all that. Full dress rehearsal on this damn thing. Being my first pneumatic, I want to make sure everything's working just fine. And that's tomorrow's project. Okay, people, welcome to Thursday. Spider prop's done. It's time to start another vlog with another project. Huh? What? Oh, you want to see what the spider looks like? Well, we can show you, I guess. I gotta pick on you guys a little bit. There's, oh great. I don't know how that's turning out. The sun's at the wrong freaking angle. But anyway, here you go. There's your spider. And I kind of showed you this last night, and it was getting dark. The sun was in the wrong angle at that time too. And I'm not sure how well it turned out. But I went and got my pneumatics and stuff. Spent all day today out here hooking up pneumatics. Got my 2 lines in. Going down to my solenoid. I got a regulator here so I can adjust it if needed. Right now I've got it set right where I want it. And it goes down from there into a scuba boo board, or a scuba and Tyler board, which is in there, and I got in a nice little housing. It's all been programmed, ready to go. Let's see, the solenoid and the LEDs for the eyes on that are 12 volt. So I have a computer power supply out here to run just those. Everything else is 110 and plugs into the 3-prong thing there. Now, I know the next question on this is, what does it look like when it's running? And to be honest, you're not going to see it in this video. I'm going to make you wait. Not till Halloween. But it's going to be in the next vlog. I'm going to do a showcase vlog. You'll get a daytime shot of it running, and then you'll get a nighttime shot of it running. So we'll be doing that hopefully today. Now the only other thing I have left to do with it right now is I'm going to take some of this hair cloth and I'm going to tack it onto the wood here on either side, so this has a little bit more detail to it. My mom came by, saw it, and her only complaint was the eyes. I just have some red LEDs in there, and she says those don't look like eyes. And I had originally bought some ping pong balls. I was thinking about doing some lenses on them, but they're just way too big. So I might change that down the road, but I think for right now the LEDs are perfect. So there you go. That's the end of this vlog. Hold tight, there's going to be another one out. It will either be out tonight right after this one is uploaded, or it will be out on Monday. One of the two. So you may, this vlog will get uploaded tonight, and you may end up having to wait until Monday to see the showcase vlog on this. I don't know. I haven't decided whether I want to put you guys through some torture and make you wait or not. So either way, I'm going to say stay spooky and stay toxic.